Hey, if you guys want to learn how to make the project, go ahead and check out the link below. You can go to Skillshare and you'll get the full class project there. You're going to get 2 weeks free. It's super simple. Check out the description and the comment section for that link. Alright, so let's move on to adding some additional widgets. The first one that I'm going to add is going to be a simple pie chart where I'm going to show the types of crimes that are in our current filtered data set. So let's go over here to the body and add element, and we'll pick out pie chart. So we're going to want to select our layer because that's what we're going to build the widget off of. And when I get that, I'll see that I have nothing in it initially. But all we have to do is simply select the way we want to show what we're going to show. And we have a couple different options for like prompting that data and getting it to like feed the widget. So initially I've selected, for one, I have no filters. For two, I have a, let's say there's three methods of selection of how you can show this data. So if I say grouped values, then I will be grouping all the values and then displaying something like from a category, right? If I say features, then I could say I could be showing features from the primary type, and then I'd be showing like a specific grouping of years. So this doesn't really you'll quickly find experimenting with this that you'll find a way to the intended purpose of how the widget should work. But like right here, like this data visualization currently with this pie chart is like super unclear. Like I have assault 5% spread out over like, I don't know, like is that by year? You know, I don't know. Not a good application for a pie chart, just like based off of our data and these settings that I've set up right now. But what I will do is I'll go back to group values and I'll go to primary type. And that's just me filtering and saying, hey, give me all of the primary types and then count them. And so if I say, yeah, give me the count, I could also do like the average or sum. If I do sum, that'll kind of change things a little bit, but I'm just going to do count because I want to know the exact count of records associated with a type. And so this right here is the basis for where we want to go. And so we have this available. Let's go to the next area. It says chart. And the next thing I want to fix is the labels. So right now we have like percentages, and I'd rather know what is showing when I hover, which is the actual count. So I'm actually going to say, for labels, I'm actually going to hide those, and then I'm going to show them in the legend, and I'm going to ask for the value. And this is a little bit cleaner in how this is presented here in my mind. So I'm going to go with this, and this has a numerical value associated with the amount of records. So this is good. This is what I want. So, okay, cool. We could put that on the side, or we could put that on the bottom. For now, I'm just going to put that on the bottom. I think that'll be just fine. Now, there's a lot of different formatting options for aesthetic. One of those that I like to do with pie charts is I like to add an inner radius, which turns it into a donut. And I like to have not too large, but not too small of a gap in the middle there. And sometimes I like to change the start angle. So maybe with this one, because of how we have assault right here and motor vehicle theft, you see all these colors are jacked up. We're gonna fix that shortly. But this is kind of a more natural position rather than having all of the like minority records all kind of on the top like they initially were. So I'm gonna kind of set it up like that, and I'm gonna increase the font size a little bit. So this is a little bit easier to read, and that makes sense to me. in this layout. The second thing I'm going to do is change the text color to like a pure white. That's usually lacking in dark theme. It usually doesn't do that. So it's usually like a gray, so I like to change it to white. The slices, let's go ahead and change those. And what we'll try to do is I like to pick a color from a certain band. So if I'm going to pick like this red, then I'll go along and I'll pick, you know, associated colors. I like to stay in the second band, so I'm going to pick for arson, it's fire, so I'm just going to do like a red. For motor vehicle theft, I'll do like a blue, and then for assault, I'll do like a green, and intimidation, since those are like a lot lesser representation in the data set, we'll do this. And so now we have a better color scheme. This is just a little bit cleaner. And I'm a big fan of this. We don't have any null or blank values, so we don't really have to concern ourselves with those. And the only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add like a little outline around each bar in the like pie chart here, and I say bar kind of vaguely. So if I increase the thickness here, you'll see what I'm talking about. So this sort of like this outline, it just sort of defines the shapes and the separations. And I'm just going to kind of tweak this to fit kind of whatever makes sense. And I'm maybe going to take this from like a super dark, just like a semi-dark gray, and basically the goal is I just want to kind of add a little bit more aesthetic to this, and that's kind of cool, but that's a little bit chunky. So maybe what I'll do is I'll turn that down. Case in point, just sort of play with this until you get to where you want to be. And I think this is kind of looking the way I sort of want it to be. And yeah, I think that's fine. So that's sort of how I want it to look. Yeah, there we go. So kind of mess around with this to your preference, but this is kind of mine right now. And cool, let's go ahead and name this. We'll go ahead and say this is crime by type pie chart. And for the title, which is going to go right above it, we're going to say type of crime. And I'm going to select that and just center that, so that way we have a little bit of just clean formatting there. And then also I can kind of change this to like a maybe heading 3 will be fine. Now understand that however large the text is, that's going to impact the real estate that your widget can take up. So one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go back here and say sort by, I'm going to say statistic, and I'm going to sort by descending. So that way we have the highest counts at the top. So that way, if I were to make this smaller, I would have a representation of my largest and smallest, or my two top largest demographics, and the smaller would be represented down here. So see right here, if I expand that, now I see intimidation, which is a small amount of the data set, but the larger ones are represented because those are the two primary colors that you see. So right now I think we've kind of got something working right now. The only thing that we're going to do now is I'll hit done, and then we have this available. This works now. And the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set my date picker to act on the pie. So let's say actions, and I'll say add target pie chart, and we'll pick the date. And that date field is just what is going to filter all the data, and you can see that it has. But let's go ahead and let's pick a date inside of here. And when we pick that, say 2015, and then we'll say 2016. Cool, so let's see if I change this. There you go. Let's see if I change this to 6. Or I'm just gonna kind of move this around to see what happens. It's still gonna keep basically the same distribution, but I can see that the pie chart is changing and the numbers are dropping. So let's see. This works out. Okay, so this is a whole week. So we'd see in a week we have 215 motor vehicle thefts, 320 assaults, 7 arsons, and 3 intimidations. So, okay, we got something going on here. Shake that down to just like a weekend. It's just 2 days. Okay, cool. So what happened over the weekend? This is what happened. All right, cool. So all of our widgets work, and we have this pie chart. We have the aesthetics of this worked out. This is displaying how we'd want it to, and everything's working out great. So this is basically our first widget down. We're going to kind of just move from here, and we're just going to keep on working on adding widgets that just make sense, that are functional, and that provide some value.